Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here in the KFAB studio high above Underwood Avenue. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. This is the only show in the entire metro area that talks about business expansion, real estate, and construction. You'll like it. It's interesting, and we have a packed agenda today, as always. And without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, my good friend, my colleague, the legendary real estate deal maker himself, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful Saturday morning here in Dundee.
Yeah, everyone needs to enjoy this weekend because it's going to become hot next week. So this is kind of the midsummer reprieve of the heat. So get out there and enjoy this beautiful day today.
And I want to give a shout out to the two millennials that were walking and pushing their stroller down the avenue wearing their N95 masks. Thanks for doing your part.
Safety first. And with that, we are going to go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. EagleMortgageCompany.com is where you can find them online. If you want to find them in person, 114th and Davenport Street. But no matter where you find them, they'll help you get a loan. FHA, VA, conventional loans, they do all of that. And the housing market, still very busy, still very robust. If you want to join that game, you want to get a pre-approval letter from Eagle Mortgage. So go talk to one of their mortgage brokers, and they'll take care of you and get you started down that path towards the next house.
The great thing about Eagle Mortgage is they'll help you get a loan, but you won't be alone.
I think you just created a new tagline for him, Trent.
No charge, Holly.
EagleMortgageCompany.com. Well, a couple things we have on the news docket today. First of all, you may recall the Nebraska legislature passed a bill which would provide $335 million in ARPA money, recovery money from the pandemic, for North and South Omaha and other economically depressed or stressed communities in Lincoln or other parts of greater Nebraska. And it came out this week that the first money from that $335 million are going to go to some projects in Omaha. $60 million would go to a yet-to-be-announced industrial park. Well, I say yet-to-be-announced. The location is yet to be announced, but it would be near Eppley International Airport. We already have a lot of industrial stuff up there, but there has been quite a bit of talk about developing more industrial components, and I think the thought there is it would provide good jobs to the adjacent Northeast Omaha quadrant, where unemployment is higher than other parts of the city. So we're thinking that construction could begin as early as late this year, but the site has yet to be named, so who knows, that might take a little bit longer. Also, then about $20 million in affordable housing located in various parts of Omaha. So nothing concrete in terms of a location there, but it looks like the wheels are turning for some of that $335 million. Trenton, we've got a new section of the Grow Omaha newsletter.
Oh, yeah.
And this newsletter comes out, if you don't get it, just so you know, it comes out every Thursday afternoon, and you can get it a couple different ways. One, you can join the thousands and thousands of people who have it emailed directly to them. If you want to do that, just send an email to news@GrowOmaha with your email address and say newsletter in the subject line. Or you can read it online, growomaha.com. Either way, last week, we launched a new section called Upcoming Events in the Metro, and we've partnered with Vesta. By the way, you can find out more about them at eventvesta.com, but they're an online company that provides all sorts of information and interactive capabilities related to events, conferences, philanthropies, entertainment, social events.
And they help promote your event and market it.
Yeah, it's a really cool company. Anyway, they're providing the content to it, so thanks to Vesta. But it's on the Grow Omaha newsletter, and each week, we've got 5 to 10 events that are pretty much hand-picked for Grow Omaha listeners and readers. And they could be social events, entertainment events, business events. At any rate, we keep adding to that newsletter, and this is an exciting new addition right here.
Yeah, and I want people to know, I had people come up to me this week and say, hey, we love your newsletter, we love your show, but we're not getting the weekly newsletter. And if you go to growomaha.com and go to the newsletter, and you opt in, all you do is you put your name and your email address in there. Just as an extra safety precaution, in your Outlook, add to somebody's contact information. Just add news@growomaha.com. And what happens is, even though we do our best to get it to everybody, because we have to send 12,000 plus emails, sometimes it goes into spam folders. But if you put that email address, news@growomaha.com, it'll help filter through all the other stuff and give you something that you could really use. It don't cost nothing. And it's very informative. We've had great feedback on it, and we thank our peeps out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you letting everyone know that, because we probably get like 10 emails a week saying, I'm not getting the newsletter. And then we contact the people and say, hey, make sure you add news@growomaha.com to your approved senders list, and then it fixes the problem.
And I try not to send things back saying you get what you pay for, because it's free. And they don't appreciate that.
Well, we're proud to have it for free, and we want people to read it. So, hey, a couple of rankings have come in lately for Omaha, and these are pretty cool. Let's share these. Well, one for Omaha and one for Nebraska. First of all, Omaha is ranked number 20 on Livability's Best Places to Live in the U.S. for 2022. Livability examined 2,300 cities, not metro areas, cities, based on 50 data points. And Omaha ended up being the largest city to make the top 100. Now, there are larger metro areas like Minneapolis, Salt Lake, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati are larger metro areas, but Omaha is actually bigger than all of those cities, by the way.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool.
Bigger than Miami.
Yeah, Omaha's bigger than Miami, bigger than Minneapolis, Omaha's bigger than Orlando even. Omaha's bigger than Oakland, California. But, of course, those markets are larger. At any rate, Omaha was the largest city on the list. So the top three: Madison, Wisconsin, Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Rochester, Minnesota. Apparently, they like Big Ten country. Wisconsin, Ann Arbor, and well, I guess Minnesota. Not Rochester, but Minnesota is Big Ten country. Other cities from our region: Overland Park, Kansas was number 5. Just cherry picking a couple of them here. Minneapolis, number 6. Sioux Falls, South Dakota was 38th. Lincoln was 54th. Des Moines, Iowa, number 90. Our part of the country was well represented as a darn good place to live.
And whenever we're not on one of these lists of the top of the best, just remember that 37% of all statistics are made up.
Why the hell would we not be on one of these lists?
That's true.
Okay.
Those are the ones that are made up.
Exactly. So now looking at the state of Nebraska, CNBC has ranked Nebraska number 7 on its list of the 10 best places to live in 2022. So top 10. Number 1, Vermont. 2, Maine. 3, Hawaii. 4, North Dakota. 5, Minnesota. 6, Washington. 7, Nebraska. 8 was a tie between Oregon and New Jersey. And then number 10, our neighbors to the east, Iowa.
Good for them.
And one last thing we want to cover in the news today would be the NAI NP Dodge second quarter market report. So we have some data for conditions in the Omaha real estate market at the end of the second quarter, which would have been right about at the beginning of July, the end of June, right? So the office market in Omaha at the end of the second quarter has a vacancy rate of down to 8%. And given all of the work from home and other economic challenges and all that sort of thing, and everyone talks about how office is the most stressed part of commercial real estate, 8% is pretty low.
It is. And I think, do you know whether that includes space on the market for a sublease?
I don't know if sublease is included or not. And that is a good question. My hunch is it does not. We get the information from our good friends at CoStar, who do an outstanding job of providing. They're the best commercial real estate data provider in the country. So we know it's really reliable. But get a load of this. Absorption over the past year was at 700,000 square feet.
So that's the amount of office space that gets absorbed that becomes occupied that wasn't occupied.
Yeah, so like 700,000 square feet more office space occupied now than a year ago, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, good way to say it. Okay, now let's look at the retail world. Vacancy is now down to only 5% of retail space.
See, that's impressive too. A lot of people say, "Oh, retail's just getting slammed." And I think office space is more suspect. I think there's a lot of it, and companies don't know what to do, and people are talking. Everybody's talking about hybrid. We have this we're in the office for 3 days and we're at home for 2 days and we're remote and we're working out of our car or we're working out of scooters or whatever.
You talk about retail space. If you're talking about retail space occupied by apparel stores, yeah, it's probably been tough. If you talk about retail space that was traditionally for department stores, tough. But I think one of the reasons why retail space is so low is that retail space might be the ultimate space because of the ultimate form of real estate because it's public facing and is very versatile. So in other words, right. You can turn a dead Kmart into indoor climate controlled storage or a church or something like that.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's allowed retail space to be low, even though we have seen the demise of a lot of traditional retailers over the last several years. All right, industrial. This is smoking hot, muy caliente, as it always has been. Industrial vacancy down to 3.1%. So if you want to find industrial space, you better talk to someone like Trenton because it's not easy to get. There's not a ton of it out there, even though we've built an awful lot of it. In fact, I think I have a little piece of information about that. More than 1.9 million square feet of industrial spaces under construction right now. The total market size that CoStar considers for Omaha industrial data is 103 million square feet.
John Meyer and I just put a 67,000 square feet of industrial space right at Millard Lumber. So right in the area of 132nd and L Street, 7 dock doors. It's got a nice office space in there, and it's 67,000 square feet, and it's really high ceilings, like 26 clear, if not higher, and excellent rate. When you go out to new construction, there's some big industrial buildings going up out west, but the taxes are high, the operating expenses are high. Yeah, you get state-of-the-art space, but it's so expensive. And so right there next to Millard Lumber, great landlord, great location near the interstate, called Trenton Magid or John Meyer at NP Dodge, and we'll be happy to take care of you.
And that's your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to bring on Gordon Whitten. He is the founder and CEO of I See It Ventures. Going to be talking about his big project in Ralston, the Granary, which is located near 72nd and Main Street in Ralston. Amazing project. You're going to love hearing all about this. But you're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. We'll be back in a moment. News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid here in the big studio, KFAB 5010 Underwood, and we are broadcasting live, bringing you Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. Hey, D&M Roofing is tops in the game, commercial and residential roofing services. They do all of that, and they do a great job of it for you, so we highly recommend D&M Roofing for all your roofing needs. Well, hey, we're going to talk about a very impressive development project in Ralston, and with us is the developer. His name is Gordon Whitten, founder and CEO of I See It Ventures. Good morning, Gordon, and welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good to have you with us. And hey, we really I had a chance to tour your place a few weeks ago, but it's on Main Street in Ralston, not far from 72nd. Gordon, can you give us kind of the 30,000-foot view of the Granary?
Yeah, so Ralston is in the middle of a redevelopment project called the Hinge, and basically what they're doing is they've identified a section of the community and have developed a master plan and are working on the process of redeveloping all the properties within that master plan. And we kind of decided to be the anchor project for them. There's a historical building called the Old Ralston Granary. The building began construction in the early 1900s, and so it's 88,000 square feet. But it's built in kind of the way buildings were built back then, a big, huge wooden columns and such, super strong and very, very unique as far as the character. Many people will recognize the building because on the bottom floor is the Bushwhackers Bar and Grill, which has been around for over 30 years, and many people in Omaha have been there at one point or another. So that's where the property is located. So we're super excited about what we're doing there, and we've turned what used to be basically a year ago was kind of a storage barn full of birds and all kinds of other non-appealing things, and we've turned it into, just a gorgeous office building with a great venue, and we're running every day with groups and events going through there.
Gordon, first of all, thank you for leading that granary project. It's huge, but you had an illustrious career before this, and tell us a little bit about your past business life, and then what inspired you getting into real estate development.
Yeah, so I've been involved in multiple business startups in Omaha. My traditional kind of claim to fame, I guess, would be in technology startups. I've started a couple software companies. I started one called It's Deductible. We sold to Intuit back in the early 2000s. Started a company called Sojourn, which grew from, an idea on a napkin, literally Panera Bread in Omaha, to 600 employees in 12 countries. Had a leveraged buyout a few years ago. Started a company called ScoreVision, which makes the LED scoreboards that many people have seen all over Omaha. The Millard schools have them. The Elkhorn schools have them. Scott has them. Many other schools around the Omaha metro area have them, and all over the country. That's been a great company. So got into real estate here a couple of years ago, primarily because it was an opportunity zone. And I had a capital gain, and the ability to shelter that capital gain was a really driving force. And I had no idea, but Ralston ended up being available as an opportunity zone. I couldn't believe it, right smack in the middle of Omaha. So jumped in with 2 feet, and here we are.
So you were able to shelter or defer gains from your businesses into real estate, right?
Yeah, so a lot of people are familiar with 1031s. Like, you sell something, you make a profit, you got a period of time to flip it into another property, and you don't pay the capital gains on it, right? Well, the opportunity zone works exactly the same way, except Congress passed this law until the end of 2026. You can shelter a gain not just from real estate, but from anything. So if you have a stock sale and you make $100,000, you can put that into an investment in an opportunity zone and shelter that gain up through the end of 2026. You still have to pay the tax, but you shelter it for a while. But the kicker is, if you put it into an opportunity zone and you hold that investment for 10 years or more, you pay no capital gains on the exit, which is powerful. So if you have a $10 million project, you double your money, you make $20 million, say, that $10 million of gain would have no capital gains if you held that property for 10 years. And
that's an awesome strategy. However, we'd be remiss if we did not remind people to talk to their CPA and their attorney and get good legal advice for your particular situation. Because if not, I don't want you to lose your CPA or your attorney license, Gordon.
Yeah. There's some experts in town that are fantastic, and highly recommend. It's one of those deals where you just got to find somebody that really knows it, because it's such a specialized area of the law. There's not a lot of specialists that know it, but once you find one, it's great.
Okay, Gordon, as people walk around the granary right now, what do they see, and what might they see as the project continues to grow and develop?
Yeah, I hope everybody comes out and checks it out, because we have built a beautiful facility here. We also have an outdoor venue called the Granary Green that was built in partnership with the community of Ralston. So we have one of the most beautiful outdoor venues in Omaha that we can host any kind of outdoor event, concerts, car shows, anything you can dream up, we can do out there.
And you got really good security in that neighborhood, I hear.
Yeah. You
got the police station across the street.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of helps to have them right across the street, which we appreciate. But so we got the Granary Green, we got the indoor venue. We're booking all kinds of weddings, corporate parties, holiday parties. It's like finding a historical building that we've restored from the inside out. All the beauty and the character and the artistic nature of that early 1900s granary is available, plus the functionality of a modern venue. So that's available there. And then we have office space. I guarantee you, we have 2 or 3 office spaces that are the most unique and amazing in all of Omaha area that people haven't seen yet, that if somebody's looking to build a unique office, we have some amazing space, probably around 15,000 square feet, up to 15,000 square feet in various chunks. And we're working on the process of leasing that out. So that's what it looks like right now. We've got a great architect firm that's building in there. We've got out-of-the-box furniture, which is a unique high-end reclaimed furniture store. Of course, Bushwhackers is hopping every night. So that's what they'll see.
Hey, Gordon, before we go, speaking of that outdoor space with the huge screen that you have on that patio area on the east side of the property, I understand you have a watch party for the first Husker football game coming up in about a month?
Yeah, so August 27th, the Huskers play in Ireland. It's 11:30 a.m. kickoff. We're doing this in partnership with the Nebraska Football Letter Winners Association. So we've got a bunch of former Huskers coming. We're going to do a big tailgate party there and a watch party. We've got tickets available up on our Facebook page, Bushwhackers Facebook page, actually. But we hope to have, hundreds of people bring their lawn chair out, 27-foot LED, amazing sound system. We'll have awesome food, awesome drinks, and a great way to celebrate that home opener with all your fellow Nebraska fans.
Well, the project's called The Granary, and it's very, very cool. Go check it out. Main Street, right in downtown Ralston. Gordon Whitten, appreciate you joining us today, and continued success to you and your colleagues.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it, guys.
Our pleasure.
Take care.
Gordon Whitten, founder and CEO of I See It Ventures, and the project is called The Granary. Going to take our middle of the hour break, and when we come back, we have the Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight brought to you by Noddle Companies, and we're going to bring on Ray Anderson from Anderson Convenience Market. You may have noticed all these Amico signs going up around town. We're going to find out about that, and the lightning round later in the show. It's action-packed. Stay with us. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. Hey, we hope you don't get in a car accident, but statistically, some of you are this year. And when that happens, you want to go to Dingman's Collision Center because they do a great job taking care of you when the unexpected happens. I've used them personally myself. I had a car that had a huge amount of damage, and Dingman's made it just like new, and would use them again in a heartbeat, and we recommend you do so as well. Let's go into our Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight. Everyone loves this because we always drop some news on people. It's brought to you by Noddle Companies. NoddleCompanies.com is where you find them online, but they have been around for decades developing projects in Omaha and all over the country. Big projects in Omaha include Steel Ridge, River's Edge, Builders District. They've got the Village Point Medical Campus, and of course, one of the big, most famous projects is Exarban Village. First thing we have for you today is right on the edge of Exarban Village, on the northwest edge of Exarban Village, is the shops at Exarban. And we have a restaurant there that has gone through some renovations. Jersey Mike's, which has been there for some time, has been overhauled on the inside, and it now reflects the Jersey Mike updated brand and company design themes for the restaurants. That's at 1303 South 72nd Street in the shops at Exarban.
It's no Pickleman's, but I heard it's okay.
There you go. And we also want to talk a little bit about a special event that is coming to Omaha that is being sponsored in part by Noddle Companies. And the event is called Open Omaha. And dozens of historic, creative, and culturally significant spaces will open their doors to the public next weekend as part of a metro-wide showcase called Open Omaha. This is a brand new event, first time we've ever had it. New Style Development is the presenting sponsor. Noddle Companies is one of the other key sponsors. Omaha by Design is facilitating it. And this is inspired by similar events that have taken place in cities like Denver, Minneapolis, and Chicago. Free to attend. Open Omaha is set for next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, August 6th and 7th. It's kind of like a citywide open house, gives visitors a behind-the-scenes look at more than 50 of the metro area's most fascinating spaces. So these are like places that people would go to or find very interesting, but would be fascinating to people.
This is a scavenger hunt, or what is this?
I don't think you have to get something at each one, but it's more like, I suppose it's kind of like a scavenger hunt.
But you have to go to different locations.
Yeah, but there's no like prize for like finding trinkets or getting your bingo card stamped to the best of my knowledge. Okay, so if you want to find out all of the participating venues, just go to openomaha.org. That's openomaha.org. All right, that is your commercial real estate development spotlight brought to you by Noddle Companies. You can find out more about Noddle Companies at noddlecompanies.com. Hey, we're going to bring on our good friend and sponsor, Ray Anderson. Ray is the head of Anderson Convenience Markets. Good morning, Ray, and welcome back to the show.
Good morning.
Good to have you on. And I tell you what, a lot of people have been talking to us. They say that they drive around town and they're seeing these old, familiar yet new-looking Amoco Quality Fuels logos going up on buildings.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I'm glad that's recognized.
Yeah. So you guys had been in the business for a long time. You go back to 1952. Anderson Convenience Markets has 8 retail and convenience locations around the market area. And so tell us just a little bit more about your business.
Sure, Jeff. Trenton, appreciate it. You know, our current recognized brand, Anderson Convenience Market, really has been a family effort over the many years we've been in business since back in 1952. We have been blessed with some terrific family, including my father, Ray, his brothers, Dwight, Bob, and Warren Anderson. And over the years, it's just been a joy to learn from them, both as men and really as business operators. They had a terrific ability to connect with guests. The guest was always kind of a pillar of our business, and we're blessed to be able to continue that today. We service a lot of people in the Omaha market, and are appreciative to be able to do so.
So I remember growing up and Uncle Warren's station at 90th and Center, and I think I remember the standard, similar logo, but it was standard stations, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Standard Oil really came around at the turn of the century back in the late 1800s when the automotive industry really came to fruition. And the Amoco brand was a spinoff of the later breakup of Standard Oil. Amoco itself, if you look at the letters, is an acronym. It's American Oil Company is what those letters stand for, and how patriotic and appropriate that is to be able to really bring that back into the Omaha market, especially rolling that out around the 4th of July. It was a great timing, and we're real happy to have that back in Nebraska.
Well, Ray, I drove by your store at 168th and Q yesterday, and the new signage on there looks great. I mean, you don't normally think of gas station and convenience store signage as being attractive, but it really is. I mean, it really kind of jumps out when you drive by on the street.
I like it because the quality of the gas, and you can go to some of those other brands that are self-branded or whatever, but I just think of quality. So I always hit up the Amocos. Before as long as it's Anderson, I know I'm getting quality gas, Jeff. But it is very cool. And so have you changed out all the 8 stations yet, or you still got some more to go?
There's 6 that have been rebranded, and there's 2 more to go, which you will see coming up. And then a few months from now, we'll announce a new location for you, allowing you to be the first to bring that to the market as well, Trenton. So we look forward to that. Standard Oil became a very successful and popular brand because of the quality. And Trenton, what you said, I know you appreciate in your vehicles having quality fuel. Sometimes we'll have a guest ask us, "A fuel is fuel. Does it really matter?" And it really does. if you think of the places where you can buy fuel today, you might be buying fuel that's sourced from a variety of suppliers. And what that means ultimately is your vehicle is not getting a consistent product every day, every week, every month. And what Amoco can provide you is that high-quality fuel on a very consistent basis. Your cars, especially yours, Trenton, are very important investments. And it's important to feed them the proper nutrition, which is fuel, and that results in great performance long-term, lower maintenance costs long-term as well.
Yeah, Jeff's cars should probably have okay gas too, but you've got other, yeah.
You got other gas for me.
Yeah.
Ray,
he's making the equivalent of moonshine in his backyard for his cars.
Okay,
I've heard that.
All of that aside, we are very excited about the new Amoco Quality Fuels brand. But other question I have for you is, how come Nebraska didn't win the Mega Millions last night? We were hoping to see Anderson Convenience Market tickets purchased and published in the news today.
You know, we were thinking it was going to go that direction, but as we sat and thought about it, we knew that if Jeff and Trenton won that ticket last night, we'd possibly lose the show in Omaha, and that just can't happen. You guys are way too valuable for us in the community. We love hearing you and listening to you every week.
That's our sacrifice for the community, but thank you for that.
Yeah, it is great to hear the stories we talk about with guests every week. What would be done with it? How would it be applied? I guess at the end of the day, a lot of those funds go back into the state of Nebraska, into our communities, and that's a very positive thing.
So when people purchase Mega Millions tickets from an Anderson Convenience Market, do people talk to the clerks about that and say, you know, what I'm going to do with it if I win and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of employers that would probably get notices the next day based on the stories we hear. And fortunately, there's very few winners, and
actually,
everybody goes back to another life.
I have another take on that. If I wanted, I'd actually get a job at McDonald's or one of those places, just be the world's worst employee.
The world's worst.
But it would be absolutely the best McDonald's in the market. That would be
absolutely
for sure.
Free entertainment.
But that said, I wouldn't, if this happens, Ray, I wouldn't bring him on at Anderson Convenience Market. It might not be good for business. He might not measure up to some of the current customer service providers.
He'd be pretty close.
Ray, we appreciate you joining us, and congratulations on the transition to Amoco. The stations and the convenience stores look great, and we'll look forward to hearing the announcement of that new location here pretty quick.
Great. Thanks. Look for the red, white, and blue. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ray.
All right, Ray Anderson, head of Anderson Convenience Market with Quality Amoco Fuels. Going to take our final break of the hour, and when we come back, it'll be the Turner Construction Lightning Round. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. And it is time for the Grow Omaha Turner Construction Lightning Round. The Lightning Round is when we talk about a lot of things in a short period of time, and we thank Turner Construction for bringing this to you. Turner has been in the Omaha market for several years now and has really made a big splash. In fact, one of their projects is the Sarpy County Data Center, and has just announced this week that a 9th building is underway at that 4 million square foot data center campus in Sarpy County, and they do smaller projects as well. And you can check them out. Turner Construction, whether you're looking for a contractor or you're in the trades and you want to work for a construction company that takes good care of people, check out Turner Construction. We thank them for sponsoring the Lightning Round. Trenton, the real estate community lost a legend this week.
No question about it. And it gives me great privilege to talk about my dear friend, the passing of a dear friend, Frank Krejci with Century Development. Frank was one of the most unique people I ever got to know. I considered him a dear friend. I did a few projects with him. A lot of people in the real estate community did huge projects with him, and he really is a legend, and he's a pioneer. He leaves behind some wonderful family members, including the ones that I got to know is Bob and Gail Krejci. Bob, his son, Gail, his daughter-in-law, Lori Krejci, and Larry Smith, and wonderful people. And also honorary family members, Marilyn and John Ellingson. Marilyn really runs that office. And Frank, you've heard about him. He is the one that preserved the 72nd and West Dodge Road, and it's being turned into an amazing development. But Frank came from nothing, and for 71 years, he built an empire and changed a lot of lives. So farewell, my friend. He developed West Shores. He developed Valley Shores. He developed the Oakview Mall area. And so it'll be interesting to see how his family carries on his legacy. And I want to thank the Krejci family for everything they've done. And Frank, we'll miss you.
And some news for the lightning round. Grant and Emmy's Ice Cream and Burger Dogs is coming. It's going to be directly north of the new Julio's restaurant, 192nd and Q. This will have the same ownership as Julio's, and it'll be open in about 3 or 4 weeks. And we have another crumble cookie shop coming. It'll be in the shops at Market Point, 72nd and Giles and Papillion. Maybe that will further cut down on the 168th Street lines for a crumble cookie.
There you go.
I noticed when I went by the 156th Street one last week, no line whatsoever. Was able to get right in for the very first time I ever purchased anything at a crumble cookie because I didn't ever want to wait in line.
They have like 170 different flavors.
But only 6 per day.
Right.
Okay.
Including chocolate chip every day.
Perfecto. All right. Ribbon
Except
cutting.
Sundays they're closed.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Okay. Ribbon cutting August 4th for the Viridian Credit Union new building, 7529 Dodge. This is in front of a Lowe's home improvement store right on the big Dodge strip through there.
I'm guessing that won't have the line that Crumble Cookies has.
Probably not.
I get the ATM first.
I mean, it's a fine Viridian Credit Union, but
I want a savings account.
Unless they give away free crumble cookies, then they could have a heck of a line. A restaurant known as, now some people will misinterpret that and think, oh my God, Viridian Credit Union's no, they're not giving away free cookies. That was just a joke. A restaurant to be known as Lux American Grill is opening in the apartments at Lux 96. So this is 96th Street, right where Cornhusker Road and Portal Road meet. There's also a breakfast restaurant in there called Cafe Diem. But
it's a Bellino development. Good people.
Yeah, Lux American Grill. Can't wait to give that a try. Another restaurant that looks pretty cool is Talus Spirits and Sustenance. Talus Spirits and Sustenance. It's going to be 10914 Cumberland Drive. That's basically 108th and 370 area.
Yeah.
Menu looks good. Kind of an eclectic American with some international influence.
Yeah, it's been in the works for a couple of years, but I've heard good things about it.
All right, a couple other things. Elevated Coffee Company at 2851 Cape Hart Road in Bellevue is adding a craft beer tap house this fall. It'll be in the retail bay next door. According to the company's website, quote, you can expect the best local beer, wine, liquor, boozy coffee drinks, and expanded food options, end quote. JoJo's Diner is getting close to opening its new Old Market location. We reported on that a couple months ago. The new location is described as a downtown diner-style delicatessen. How cool is that? It's in the former Craft Sliders and Beer location, 1213 Harney Street in the Old Market. The original JoJo's is in Benson. A second one opened several months ago near 132nd and West Maple. Hotworks plans to open a location soon at Shadow Lake Town Center in Papillion. The company offers hot yoga, Pilates, and other virtually instructed exercise programs. Hotworks has several existing locations around the metro area. And in Ashland, suburban Ashland, is kind of becoming a suburb these days, darn near, at least a bedroom community. Ashland Wine and Spirits has opened at 202 Highway 6. Wine, beer, spirits, locally and internationally sourced. Trent, there's a lot of development activity in that Ashland area.
Absolutely, and it's not just the home of the Air and Space Museum.
And we're not going to flood it. That is just right out.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet. Well, the more they keep building, I think the less likely. Now, near Ashland, we may end up getting that 7 Mile Lake someday, but while that would be very cool, it's nothing for which I would hold my breath. All right, the music is playing, which means that we have to leave you for 1 week, but we will be back. In the meantime, have a great weekend. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggot.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing, Dingman's Collision Center, and Turner Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock a.m. right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.